Hi, this is Christopher Lewis, and welcome to Dating Intelligence, the podcast where we give relationship advice from dating to marriage and everything else in between. And always with the goal of helping you to continuously be the best you at all times.
So if you're looking for real life and honest information to help you navigate your relationships, we've got you covered.
We got you covered. I feel like we're navigating all the time. We're getting better at this shit, aren't we?
We are.
Hey guys, hello, and welcome to another episode. We're at Sticky Paw Studios in Las Vegas, and we got an amazing show for you guys today. So I think we should just jump right into it because this guest, she's going to teach us some stuff today.
Where are your notes?
My notes?
Sir?
I don't need notes today because I got this
You're
today.
fucking on it.
On it today, girl. Yeah, we're on it. All right, so there's a saying that says if you give a man a fish, he will be hungry tomorrow. But if you teach a man to fish, he will be richer forever. And that's what we're going off of today. So our guest today definitely knows a lot about this. And from what I can tell, she feels mostly at home when she's out in nature doing what she does best. Shooting, fishing, hunting, and just loving the outdoors. She definitely fits into our boss babe category and make no mistake. She is just as sharp in business as she is on the range. She is a registered nurse, the CEO and owner of Warrior Knives, and finds time for mommy duties. Please welcome Kate Munoz to the show.
Hello.
Do you like
First
that?
podcast. My palms are a little sweaty.
I think you're going to be amazing. How are you, beautiful?
That was quite the intro. I don't think I've ever had an intro that way, but I'm doing great. And I'm so glad to be here today. And I'm really excited to answer all your questions and give people the information they're looking for.
Well, I think you're going to be like schooling a lot of people today on a lot of things because I feel like this is a very interesting subject today. And I know I feel like it's in the relationship realm because a lot of people this is what needs to be heard from a lot of people on why hunting and shooting and quite frankly fishing, it's not only a sport, but it's a way of life. This is how we feed our families. This is how we go back to nature, in other words.
This is how we literally got here. I mean, back in primitive ages, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for people that did that.
Right. There were no fucking microwaves back then, so you had to do something,
and
right?
I catch a lot of slack all the time for shooting. I don't even post anything like hunting, but I get called out a lot. So what is it like for you that when we go to your page, it's primarily like hunting, fishing?
Yeah. I would say that as much stigma is revolved around guns, I would times that probably by 5 at least for when it comes to hunting.
Wow.
You have a lot of gun owners and people that are pro 2A that are against hunting.
Okay.
So it does make it hard. And then it's also just like shooting. It's a very male-dominated industry. And again, some women don't get taken seriously or they're just doing it for the gram or whatever other type, those things that you hear that are just stigmas and unfortunately they're not true.
Right. I mean, and that's why, once again, thank you for being here, by the way. I think that you actually truly are an outdoors person. Like you love being in outdoors. And I've looked all through your stuff and I'm like, I think it's incredible because the photos show that it's not just what you have in the photos with the animals and stuff like that or what you're doing. It's the way that you look. Like you're just so happy and you love what you do.
Yeah, I absolutely do.
How long have you actually been hunting?
So this is a great question because I didn't grow up I had no brothers. My dad didn't hunt. I was the first person in my family to even own a gun.
Wow.
So that right there kind of everyone's, did you learn this from your father, your dad? No, I taught my dad. Let's start there. And so I've been hunting now for around 3 years, I believe. And honestly, I wish I've wanted to do it a lot longer, but I was just scared to make that jump. And I think that's where a lot of women are afraid to make that initial plunge because you have to go out into the woods. Most times, if you're brand new, you have to go out with sometimes a stranger into the middle of the woods. And it can be a little bit uncomfortable as a female to go out with a male in an uncharted territory for you.
Right.
She's like, can you GPS this? Because I need to make sure I get back.
I've seen a lot of, episodes on crime shows that start just like that.
Well, I'm super excited that I found your page and actually met you, and now we're actually friends.
I know.
So there were a lot of female hunters that I actually looked up to, like Jessie Harrison, your page, of course, and that's kind of what got me interested in the game because we see men hunting all the time and talking about it and fishing, and then I looked at you and I'm like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it too. So I think that you are an inspiration to other women that are curious and the education that goes behind it.
Yes.
Because I'm not as well versed as you are in the game, but I get questions all the time don't you care about the animal or this or that? And then, you know, we do our homework on our end, and I'm like, yo, you were just at In-N-Out, like eating a cheeseburger. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Animal style, the name Animal
or you
Style
see
on
like
top
a
of
woman
it.
carrying around her bag, and I'm like, yo, that's leather. What do you mean? So that makes it, I don't think people are just educated on the whole aspect of hunting. So how do you navigate that?
Well, that is a tricky one because people have such ingrained stigmas when regarding hunting. And so like you mentioned, a lot of people don't even, that are anti-hunters and anti-hunting, are currently using animal products from animals that unfortunately didn't die of, natural causes. Like that, whatever designer bag you're using, etc. That animal did not unfortunately perish from old age. So I think that they don't put in the perspective and the realization that what they're using animal products. And for me, I like the free range organic meat. It goes along with being healthier. It goes along with not adding in all the extra hormones and other things that they do when they have, large animal processing and manufacturers and stuff. You don't get that when you have hunting. So I try and explain people that aspect. And it's like people just don't grasp the concept that what they're eating was an animal that was probably, unless it was a free-range organic animal, which most of them are not, that animal was probably penned up its whole life. It doesn't know anything different. Where I find hunting, ethical hunting and legal hunting, of course, everything I will be talking about today is under the presumption that I'm referring to ethical, legal hunting, not poaching or anything like that. But the animals that are kept in a lot of very inhumane circumstances are what people are eating, and I prefer my meat to be from an organic, free-range source.
Right.
It's so much better for our bodies. It's healthier for us because everything we're getting in the store, a lot of it's like processed.
Right, that's correct. Yeah,
filled with
lots of hormones and steroids and stuff.
The antibiotics, pesticides.
Right.
Like all these things are contaminating our foods. And then we have people like you that kind of go out and you're literally stocking your freezer for a year.
Yes.
So all this is being consumed.
Oh, it absolutely. I mean, even all the way down to people have dogs. They love their dogs. Well, you know how bad dog food is in general? The amount of chemicals and stuff. I mean, if you go to look at the ingredients in dog food, it would scare a lot of people. Because you ask most people what's in dog food, nobody knows.
Right.
Where I do a lot of raw feeding and stuff. So that also helps sustain. And I can use actually parts of the animal that I wouldn't personally consume for myself, but my dog is perfect for her.
Right, because it's still better than what they're getting at the store.
Give me an example. I didn't know that.
So you can do bones, and I know people, and I love making this a correction because cooked bones are terrible for dogs. You never want to give cooked bones, but raw bones have the calcium in them. I mean, you don't want to get down to little slivers or, obviously tiny pieces that could harm your animal. Make sure you get appropriate bones, but they can chew on them. It makes their teeth not have any tartar on them.
It cleans their teeth.
Yes, it cleans their teeth. It gives them calcium. The bone marrow in itself is very rich, and even humans, use the bone marrow for a lot of broths, etc. Well, all those nutrients that are in there can also be good for your animal. So my dog has the silkiest, smoothest skin, and everybody always asks, "What do you do?" And
they're like, "Did your dog go to the spa? What the hell?"
The leftovers.
I've had my dog for 3 years, and I've never had to bathe her.
Wow.
I mean, her skin is her natural oils and everything that just from it keeps. It's a natural repellent of dirt and everything.
And let everyone know what type of dog you have, because
I have a Belgian Malinois.
It's so great looking. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes.
That was fun.
What is your Instagram again? So
it is
listening.
Cat and K9, and K9 is just the letter K and numeral 9.
Love that.
Love
K-A-T and K9. I love it. That's so great. Now, does the dog go with you is it for hunting sometimes?
Well,
in a role?
Usually not,
Okay.
because unfortunately I can't control if my dog gets too excited about the animal, because she's learned to know what animals also smell like because that's part of her diet.
Yes.
So the last thing I need is to be in the middle of hunting.
Okay.
And there goes my dog and gets my deer. I don't know who really would get credit at that point.
That's so funny. So how did you expand from one aspect of hunting to like all the aspects of hunting?
Well, I actually didn't even start with hunting at all. I started with shooting, and ever since I've been a little girl, I've loved breaking stereotypes of what women can do and what women can't do, etc. I like to push the boundaries. I like to be a tomboy. I really can go dress up and then I can be in all camo, and both are me.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be one way or the other. And I think that's kind of a lot of people, oh, you don't look like a hunter. What does that mean? what are they supposed to look like?
Let me get my flap jacket. Hold on. We're orange everywhere.
Exactly. So I started with shooting based on self-defense. I have a history of PTSD from domestic violence and child abuse.
Okay.
And gaining my self-confidence through shooting did actually more for me than I feel like most therapy did, because it developed something internally where I just felt like I had a power that I'd never had before.
That's amazing.
And I found it to be a great equalizer between, men and women, in terms of a lot of times, without being too stereotypical, but a lot of times women are weaker than men in a physical standpoint. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how big you are, 9mm will definitely do the job. So you can be a 400-pound guy, and I still have a good chance. So, and I went from that aspect, and then when you kind of go in there, I decided, I would like to have my own self-sustaining meat, and I'd like to, especially, it really pushed it heavily for me when the pandemic started. Remember, you went to the grocery store?
Yeah.
What hit it for me.
Yeah, and there was no meat or anything, and most people didn't know what to do. I mean, they're out there looking for a Cheeto trees. Like, no, like they don't, they're out there looking, like, you have to be able to hunt, and that's back in the day, and even right now, there even again, food shortages being brought up again. Well, if you have the skills to be able to hunt and gather and have your own food, you really can go a long way. And if the zombie apocalypse or whatever you want that, if it hits, you know what? I'm going to be on a hunter's team. That's for sure.
So we've had that discussion on a podcast with Travis, our producer, and John Rolando, the owner here. We had that conversation before, like, okay, if the zombie apocalypse hit, remember you go, who do you hit first? And we went to that whole spiel, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think it's so important to know that if shit hit the fan, I could feed my family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very important. Very important.
Yeah.
I have an overall question. Between, let's say, hunting and fishing, because I always want to fish, but I'm just like, it's just so slow. And I guess I'm just, are you the same way? Are you slow? Like, I always have to be doing something quickly and fast.
So you haven't been like really... Have you been like real fishing, like out in the Keys?
I've done that. And
it was boring.
Well, I mean, first of all, how long does the boat have to go out? First of all, it takes a while.
I mean, it's a nice ride out.
I get a little seasick too.
Lay out.
Lakes I could do.
When we like hit the spots, it's like fire. It's so exciting, right?
When you hit the school,
sometimes you have 8 poles up, and we're running from one side to the next. It's so fucking.
See, that
exciting.
I like that stuff. But like, I guess for you, if you're hunting when you're waiting, or fishing and waiting, what's the better wait for you?
Well, honestly, so I'm very much like yourself. I'm a go until my wheels fall off and then still try and go some more type person. I've learned to embrace when I'm disconnected. When you go 40 miles offshore, you're not getting that Instagram feed or anything else, it makes you have to disconnect. You really don't have a choice but to enjoy what's around you and enjoy the moment in a way that I find to be so therapeutic.
That's great.
It's definitely, it brings me into I'm the most patient person I've ever been in my entire life after hunting.
That's great.
I guess in a sense, you have to be. There's nothing you can do to speed it up. It's a fucking waiting game.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of the waiting game, because you've done a little bit though, right? Yeah. Do you guys feel like, how long do you really wait for? Like when you go, okay, time's up. I've been here for a while. There's nothing coming. What's the time that you guys normally give yourselves in that instance?
Whatever legal shooting light ends at.
Oh,
usually.
Okay. I didn't know. That's out. Wait, say that again. Say that part again.
Normally, whenever you hunt, there's always you can't. Most states, I guess I can't speak for every single state because I can't verify that. But as far as I know, every single state I've been into, there's a legal shooting light and then an end time, depending on what season and stuff you're doing, because they don't want like spotlighting an animal and shooting it is unethical, and most of the times it's illegal for wherever you go. So usually it ends, sunrise is usually when you can start, and sundown is when you can go. And people will sit there and not see anything, and then that's the biggest pitfall ever, because I can almost guarantee you go to get out of your stand or you go to leave, and there you got deer coming up behind you, or some sort of animal. You really have to kind of just wait it out, because it's nature. You're not in control. You're on their time. Yeah. They're not on your time.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that aspect of it though.
I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah. All right. So motherhood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, how many do you have?
I have 2.
Okay. So see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, guys, she can do it all over the place. I mean, this is nature's miracle over here.
Yeah.
She gets
Single
it done.
mom?
Jeez.
Single
Right?
mom?
Yes.
Okay.
mom,
And
okay.
and so how's motherhood treating you?
Motherhood it's honestly great. I do love the industry because I come from a nursing background, and the nursing background with the 12-hour shifts, having a higher baby, I really wanted to get into a career where I could set my own hours. It was very important to me. I find that to be one of my ultimate forms of independence, and so I love that I can make sure I don't miss anything that's very important for the kids. I am divorced, so I do only have the kids half the time. So that honestly does help with being able to travel and things like that. And it also just makes it so I can have my mommy time, and then I can have it be all about the kids when they're around. And I
Okay.
love that.
That's great.
I think having that me time makes us better moms.
I agree.
For sure. So I always say, there's 2 sides. Like, there's one side where you're like, as moms, we don't want to wake up Christmas morning without our kids. It's fucking sad.
Yeah.
But then the other aspect is we get that little break, like in our week or our months that makes us literally like miss our kids so much that when we do have them, we cherish every freaking moment that we have with them.
Yeah.
So there's like, it's a catch-22. I hate sharing, but the flip side is I know that it makes me such a better mom.
That's great.
Yeah.
You feel the same
Yeah.
as well?
Oh, I
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, people always say, "Oh, I'm sorry." So, in the beginning, "Oh, so sorry for your divorce." I'm like, yes, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
in the long run, I feel like I am a better mom because of it.
Right. That's
Yeah.
great. It's a different juggling act at that point too, and you really have to.
don't you, like with your kids?
I feel the
because
same way.
your time's limited.
Yes, exactly.
So when they are with you, it's like you want to give them everything.
Right, that's
to where
true.
when I was married and with the girl's dad, it was like you almost take your time for granted.
Well, and you do because you feel like, oh well, someone will handle it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll see him tomorrow.
Right.
I think it's the same principle as any relationship at all. If you spend every single moment with any person, no matter who they are, you're probably going to get annoyed of them eventually. But if you give yourself your little breaks and then you come back, it gives you time to miss them more. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that goes with any type of relationship.
Yes, I agree. I'm learning that better and better.
Even like clearly we're not advocating for divorce.
Yeah.
But even like finding.
Chase, can you put that into the tagline there, please?
Disclaimer.
all the married couples out there.
Yeah, we're sorry.
get divorced.
Continue
So much
on.
better. But even, yes, for those that are together in a relationship, that's awesome. But I think getting that hour, 2 hours to yourself, like as a mom, just to like get away, escape from the kids, and coming back for that refresh, it just, gosh, it's we
huge.
need it. It's so
huge.
good for you.
And as my children get older, I think it's also really important because in today's age, they have so much in terms of electronics and things that we didn't have. Like we played outside.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, nowadays I'm not going to want my kids gone all day and be back like we used to come back. Nobody had a phone or anything, and my parents just assumed I was showing up.
At dinner time,
right,
back
yeah.
at dinner.
Yeah, things have changed now, but it's definitely getting into activities like that. No matter what they are, it's just good to have them put down any electronics, get them away from the TV, get outdoors.
Get outside. Like my dad would say, you need to be home when the street lights come on.
Yeah, right. That's dinner time.
But now it's like,
well,
I mean,
we're
so,
trying to
like,
kick him out of the house. What are you talking about? Go
Right.
play.
Yeah, exactly.
Go outside. And quite frankly, I mean, friends aren't next to each other anymore with schools now and stuff as
Correct.
well. Everybody lives in different areas. I mean, at least I know in California and LA, a lot of kids go to private schools, so their best friend's like 20 minutes away or over this way, but no one lives next door anymore either, though. So that makes it kind of tough to actually wheel them here and there to do that.
Yeah.
So they're more isolated. A
Okay,
lot.
tell us a little bit about the nursing. That's exciting.
Okay, so nursing for me, I went into it pretty much. I couldn't decide exactly what field I wanted to, but I had a math science background, and that was kind of a natural transition. And I just applied. I didn't even know if I was going to get in. I got in. I finished nursing school, and I am still a licensed RN in Michigan. But over time, I've realized nursing, it is great, but it's also a business at the end of the day. And I don't mean in any way that positive or negative, but you do spend a lot of time charting, things like that you don't think. I went in it to help people and to sit there and have the time and be like, how are you feeling? Not physically, but like I wanted to help the whole person.
Okay.
And all nurses, I think, would love to be able to do that, but time doesn't always permit that. And I was just always so rushed, and I felt like I couldn't give people my all, and I couldn't do my best even when I was. So I decided to switch and transition into doing the social media and advocating for women to get in self-defense and, other things like that, because I just felt like I was taking a part of my past and turning it more into a positive by going that route. I felt like I was helping people more.
Well, at least you pivoted and understood where you wanted to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, nursing obviously is a very stable, great career.
Yes, it is.
I mean, there's nothing, I don't regret 1 second for getting my degree, and I don't regret one second. I still keep it maintained just because I may go back. You never know.
Right.
But
Yeah. At least you have that in your tool belt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, kudos to all you nurses out there, because I mean, especially after COVID and all that stuff you had to go through this past few years, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know when you had actually stopped. I don't know if you had done that during COVID or not. Were you still?
I actually had stopped right before
Okay.
COVID, just because they were trying to limit the exposure to the patients.
Yeah.
Amount of nurses coming in, so they started making much longer hours and less rotations.
Okay.
Because that way it would be less
Separation
exposure.
and stuff, right? Okay. So what do you do for fun? I know I gotta say your lifestyle is kind of fun, but I mean, what do you do outside of this for fun? Like when you're not hunting, you're not fishing, you're not like with the kids.
I feel like everything she does
I
is
know.
fun.
That's what I
What are
mean,
you
though.
talking
Right.
about?
Well, you know.
I'm trying to think of what I do that's not fun.
Right. Do you, like what do you like to do for exercise? What do you like to do?
Do you have a knife on you?
Did you really? What a
See what
question
you
is
have.
that?
Oh shit.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Okay, guys, this is the first. I'm actually surrounded by 2 knives for the first time. Jamie's always trying to stick me on the side, but
Look how
that is
tiny
awesome.
I have like a little baby.
Is this one from your brand?
Well, this is actually Microtech.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, my dealership is Microtech and Marfione Customs.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me about the business then, by the way. How's that going with the Warrior?
You know what? It's great because it fit perfectly. I didn't actually plan on even going in that route, but it kind of all fell into place. And there's a lot of women, I'm an advocate for women carrying a weapon or some sort of self-defense in no matter what. And some people just don't want to make the transition to firearms, which I understand. Not every person is going to be comfortable with carrying a firearm. Women generally wear slimmer clothing than men. I don't know what's so funny.
I'm so sorry. I'm just like really excited
I
with
know.
this one.
No, it's really
She just
exciting.
flipped the knife. I was just like this thing, like I was like, oh,
I know, and then she handed
again.
me this one. No wonder she wanted
the mini one.
I love this. Is a great bra
Like
carry.
honestly, yeah. Like no one even knows that I'm carrying it.
No,
Wow.
this is a very underrated.
I mean, not so much. But like, winter, I mean, come on, it's perfect. Let me see that little one. Let's do like a little. So I pull out my little mini.
This one needs its
then-
own little bag, that little like a sheath, like a little carry-on. Yeah.
And then here's my little baby. I mean, they're both gorgeous, but
Yeah, they definitely are 2 different purposes for sure. Like that, the big one you could definitely take out in the woods and everything, and the other one is great for a dress, like she said.
Yeah, that's more utilitarian, right? You can use that for a lot of different
so
things.
beautiful.
That is
so
great.
I got into
Go ahead.
the knives just because I understand the fact that some people don't want to get into firearms, but I don't think you should just give up any type of protection or weapon altogether. Even people that don't want to make that step, a knife.
Okay.
Knives are just generally more even people that are anti-gun are still pro knives for the most. I haven't really found anybody that's like, oh, I don't believe in you carrying knives.
Right.
I mean, nobody seems to have a problem with it. And if that's the route I have to go to get more women to take control of their self-defense, then so be it.
And it's a utility tool. So literally every Microtech knife has a window breaker. So I always say we should have one on us anyway. Window breakers, cut the seatbelt.
Oh, great. Wow.
Get out.
Yeah.
So mine's always on me.
Right.
Yeah, and even at the window breaker, obviously it's just a blunt object too. If you just wanted to get someone away and you hit them really hard, with even a blade closed, but just hit them with that end. I mean,
Okay.
they're just gonna
no, that thing for
Do
sure.
some damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just show me that thing, I'm running. So.
And they're tungsten balls, right? And
No, these are, I think it's just I feel like it's the gateway into firearms, but they start with this and they end up with a firearm. But I enjoy seeing, because you think of all the times you've heard of, domestic violence or any type of situations where had they had some sort of, weapon or firearm on them, the outcome could have been dramatically different.
Right.
And so hopefully it's just like a firearm. Hopefully you never have to use this.
Okay.
But if you don't have it and you need it, you're in a
Well, for a lot of
bad
people
spot.
out there, for both you guys, when you do have one, what sort of training do you think that they should have minimally in order to feel that they can wield this thing and use it correctly if they need to in those situations? Does that make
Do you want to
sense?
answer? You want me?
Okay, so I feel like there's two types of blades.
Okay.
Like, and real, like I have you've seen the wall in my
yes, mhm.
backyard, so I do have knives that I can actually throw. And then we have knives like an OTF knife, like what Kat and I are both carrying. Are we going to throw this? No. But if someone gets up on top of
Yeah.
us, it's within our reach to where we can get away.
Right, okay.
So it provides an option. So never are we trying to really square up with anyone.
Well, I know that.
The purpose is always to get away, and I
Right.
feel like this helps us get away.
Okay.
See, I think for the type of training, the best part about this, we've all been training for a long time. We all have used kitchen knives and head
is true,
knives
yeah.
ever since it's part of our daily routine. So you know how to be safe when you have a sharp knife.
Very true.
So it's kind of just taking a part of your life that everybody is well aware of. Yeah, you don't touch the end, you don't run your finger across, but you learn that at such a young age because you learn that with regular kitchen utensils, and then you just take it to a platform that can be in your pocket. And so most people don't really require that much specific training because you know what to do and what not to do with the blade. And as long as you know how to safely,
good point. Yeah.
as long as you know how to safely use it and finding one that's comfortable for you. But there are so many styles. There's really no excuse to not carry one.
Okay.
I don't think.
Right.
Are you like a stab and drag, or are you a slice?
Well, I've never actually had to, so I don't know what I would do in the moment. But I am a nurse, so I do know the best areas to probably hit.
yes, you
so
do.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's some
Right.
training, like where
Right.
your arteries are, things like that. If you really want to go down that road.
Inside of the thigh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. The neck.
Right.
But pretty much, if you're under attack, wherever you can hit is where you're going to want to
Yes.
hit.
True.
I mean,
as long as they're going to jar and
Yes.
move, that's it.
Okay, I have a question for you. As a nurse, what is more traumatic to repair, a knife wound or a bullet wound? In your opinion?
So knives do make nice clean cuts usually. I mean, but you add in but this is where it gets tricky. You add in something like this with serrations and a different.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to be a nice scalpel.
It's not a clean
Right.
in
Yeah.
and clean out.
Right.
So that kind of makes the question a little bit harder because yes, a clean cut can be very easy to stitch up, but you also get a lot of hemorrhaging, and then when a bullet potentially enters, you have the heat of the bullet, which can kind of cauterize a little bit, and you
Okay.
don't have that with the blade.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
I heard that the knife wounds are typically more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like devastating.
Yeah. Well, they say a lot of people when they don't even know they've been stabbed.
Right.
That's usually the unfortunate part.
Oh,
They
right.
don't
Yeah.
even know that they have sustained because if you get a very sharp blade, ideally a blade should be so sharp that you shouldn't even feel it. And you're going to definitely feel if you got shot.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wow. All right. Well, I know Jamie's going to ask this question. I'm going to get ahead of her, though. How's the dating life going, by the way?
Well, it is a very hard lifestyle to try and pretty much someone has to be very supportive of the lifestyle because the traveling, the hunting, I mean, and I'm not an attached at the hip kind of girl.
Okay.
I mean, or woman, whatever, I mean, I'm just not that way. I like my independence and I need somebody that understands that I don't want my independence because I don't like them. I want my independence because it helps me to get in, just be alone and
Right.
like center myself. And it just helps for that nice refresher. And some people take that personal, and that's where things can get hard because
Okay.
it's not, no, I do want to hang out with you, but I want my own time.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a common denominator with these successful women?
I have. And
What
it's,
is it?
It's something, well, once again, strong, powerful women. Basically,
Yes.
I find in my eye, and I try to tell a lot of people this is the fact that you already are in motion. And this is the easiest way I can say it right now. And I tell a lot of, and I'm going to use my own way of saying this, that what you just said, you're already in motion. And when you meet someone, they can't stop you. They should be moving with you. That's the easiest way for me to say it. And so all you guys, like I said, you're all doing your own thing. And whoever comes into your life needs to know that's that they're just going to be a part of your life as much as they need you to be a part of theirs as well. But once again, it's like you're not going to stop unless, you finally say, I think I can actually stop now, but that should be your choice.
Yeah.
You had said once before on an episode that if my man asked me to stop, modeling, I probably would do it. And I go, but why? It's not for him. It's for you. Why should he care? He met you in the industry, so why is all of a sudden he's going to change that for you? It's the same for me. Like my girlfriend's a doctor, and sometimes she comes home, like, not as much anymore, but back in the day when she'd go, gosh, Chris, I'm sorry I have to go again. I'm like, don't apologize for your job.
Yeah.
I know what you do. It's like, it's like, don't apologize for you having to go in the middle of the night and go do your job. I mean, I'm never apologize for that. So, so I feel like people need to learn. It's just like, but we forget, we get comfortable, we forget. And like you just said, there's those times where someone might not like that because a lot of times it's their ego that gets bruised because you're not spending enough time with them. And even though they're going to say, well, I'm spending a lot of time with you, it ebbs and flows regardless.
Well, I think also the other little torque in the wrench there is the fact that these industries like Jamie and, well, maybe not so much modeling, but the shooting and stuff, the outdoors, you're with men all the time. And a man has to be very secure in themselves, in their relationship, to be with a woman who, yes, I am surrounded by men all the time. And I can't not do it just because of how maybe someone feels this way about me, or maybe someone, is obviously you have to be able to put people in their place.
Right.
But at the same time, you are a female in a male dominated industry. It's kind of unrealistic to think that no man is ever going to try and hit on you or anything. You just have to, and so you have to be the guy that understands, as long as you're not encouraging it or bringing it on yourself. I can't control what other people do.
That's the best way to put it. It's funny, the other day, my Jamie, one of her friends had asked that we went out with the other night before we went out with them. She was like, yeah, so I know that, she goes, aren't you like ever jealous of like Chris hanging out with Jamie when they do all these event stuff? She goes, no, like why? Like she goes, I know Chris, first of all, first and foremost, before she said, I know Jamie. So they go, they just are who they are. And so it's that thing of security where she's like, there's no threat. She understands. But it's the threat comes from when they sense it. If you sensed it and she has to say something, that's a threat where I have to step back and go, wow. And it's only happened once in my life with her after 4 years where there was a threat when I was like, I had to take a step back and go like, oh yeah, you're right. But let me get rid of this like that, because I even knew that, this was a potential threat after I tried to deny it wasn't.
But I love that she called you out on it.
Yeah, right.
And then you were able to redirect.
I recognized it because not only that I tried to go, what you're talking, I'm not saying that you know what you're talking about. I went, no. And all of a sudden I went, oh yeah, you're right about this one. And that's why. So someone did ask that. And it's the same as how one of your past friends had said, like, how do you feel about Chris staying over? It's like, it's just what it is, you know?
And I'm a huge advocate for your relationship. So I know that Jamie knows.
Right.
Like, you're not doing fucking shit on my watch. Not that you would anyway, but I'm like all about all about her. So I'm like, oh, hell no.
So I understand that. And by the way, with any industry ladies out here who's listening to this thing right now, it's like it happens in all industries, by the way. So
even like our school teachers, like there's always like some type of like riffraff or there's going to be some type of temptation. So I always feel like if my man's not on board, then out of my way. So we're either like together, team, you trust me, I trust you, or out of my way. Like I don't have time for that.
Right. And we had something to go off the last part of what you said. Don't ever feel like you have to, I'm going to use the best term, dumb it down for anyone. Don't ever do that, because most time we, like a lot of people go, well, I feel like, I moved to house, maybe I should do, I'm like, no, it's their job to keep up. If this is a race.
I don't want to talk over people's heads. I know sometimes I be like that, but obviously, as you guys were saying, I do think that what I do to try and help with that process would be, you still can give encouragement. And, it a little bit goes a long way to be, to just make sure you send a text or not like, and again, it'd be very different if someone said I had to do it, because then I definitely would not do it. But if I really care about somebody, I would give them the respect of saying, there's nothing to worry about. This is who's going to be there. Not be just coming from myself to them to help them just keep their mind at ease, and not keep everything so secretive. Because if I'm not trying to hide anything, then nothing should really be a secret.
Well said, Kat. Well said.
Thank you.
So we're going to actually, because I don't have a question today, but I'm going to ask you something. This could be like a versus game moment right here.
Okay.
And we should use her for this, by the way.
Yes.
So I have a question.
Wait, I haven't agreed to anything.
I know. Why? That's the question coming out. Yeah, I know, right? Like she's not in the room or anything like that.
Yeah.
She's
Over
doing
here,
it.
guys.
Yeah. So, do you think do you think that you could physically, I'm just going to throw out 5 days, live on the land with nothing but, let's say your knife, just you. Let's say, you're just out there and you get lost. For once in your life, you get lost out in the woods somewhere.
Are you going to be able to survive for 5 days?
Off the land.
I mean, I think it obviously depends. I mean, in the desert, no. Right. I mean, you add something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to cut up a cactus or whatever. But, I do know little things, but I wouldn't really consider myself naturally like a survivalist. There are some people, that's the only reason that's stopping me from saying yes. Because yes, I probably could from sheer will.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily know all the things. Like, I don't know which way the moss grows on the tree and like random stuff like that.
Right.
Like how people
Right.
talk. Like, I don't consider myself a survivalist. I know some of my friends who are survivalists and they know so much more than me that I wouldn't even call myself one.
Okay.
But I mean, if it came down to eating crickets, I'm eating crickets.
Yeah. Well,
man.
that's what I mean. Because first and
Yeah.
foremost, what do they say? You have to have water and
Yeah.
food to survive. So, and everything else should just be, just being able just to wing it.
Yeah.
I guess.
And
Right?
stay away from predators, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm still trying to identify poison ivy after all these years.
Yeah,
Like
that's
my
a
friends,
tough one.
like, get away
Yeah.
from there. It's poison ivy or oak. I'm like, what the is the difference?
I think
I
the
don't
cold,
know.
the cold would be the worst. If it was
Yeah.
cold and I had to, I mean, you could build a fire, but again, I've never tried to rub two sticks together
Okay.
and make a fire, so I don't even know if I could do it. But I've seen it
We
done on
should
TV
try.
a lot of times. So
Do we know anyone that can do that?
just know you go and you have to work
Have
down.
you
Yeah,
seen
but
a
you
guy
need-
do it?
But I don't know. I've never done it. I've
Okay.
just seen people. So
Okay.
I'd be pulling from like movies and just hoping that that's really how
In your mind?
and hoping that's really how it works.
Why do I think of Tom Hanks and Castaway? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I always
Right.
wonder, like, come on, guys, really? Is this really going to work?
Well-
So if there's anyone out there that can literally show us how to rub sticks together
yeah.
and
Yes.
start our fire,
it's called two
slide in my
matches.
DM.
I would much rather just go prepared with like a backpack and have if in an ideal situation,
Yeah.
and that's why I actually do usually always have a grab bag in my car just
Okay.
for whatever reason.
Actually, I think there might be one behind you. Let's grab that. We
there
should talk
is.
about that.
Oh, it's the Uncharted
Really
one,
fast.
right?
Okay,
Yes.
this was
Yeah.
supposed to be like a Zoom meeting where my pants didn't matter. No,
Oh,
No, they're still not on. You can just
Let's-
still not on.
as I'm in full sweat.
Chase,
Sorry.
can we borrow
no,
your
I'm
Chase?
grabbing it. I'm grabbing it. I got it.
Yeah, that's really funny. Zoom meeting. Guys, Kat's been on a Zoom meeting live with us the
Yeah.
whole day, by the way.
You're lucky I'm wearing pants. We'll just-
This is literally the best thing ever. It's made by Uncharted, and it's a frickin' survival backpack. So I actually brought it because I was going to ask if you had heard of them, but this frickin' backpack literally comes with everything that you need to
That's
frickin'
great.
survive.
Okay.
So I recommend that everyone have this in the back of their vehicle. I have one in the back of my truck and my car.
Okay.
So if I'm ever stranded, it has your meals in there. You have everything you need in here to literally survive for 1 week.
Okay.
At least.
I have a
minimum
question.
1 week. Yes.
Is this the
1 week.
cheap version or the superior version? Because the cheap version I heard has 2 sticks and the superior version has matches. So which one is
I
it?
mean, we can
Hopefully we get a lighter for the superior version.
Like it has a life straw in there.
Don't skimp,
like,
people. Don't skimp. Get the superior bag.
I'm going to ask Christian.
And the
what's in
only other
this?
thing that a lot of people don't even think about is I think those bags are incredible. The only thing I would add to that is potentially like a body armor plate.
Okay.
Because if you were to
yes.
ever need to use that bag as a sort of shield,
Oh,
as long as you get a
interesting.
very lightweight, I mean, yeah, if someone's shooting at you with 50 cal or something, you're probably out of
Right.
luck.
But in what aspect, though?
But, I mean, in what aspect?
I'm sorry, because like if
Innocent Armor has those backpacks.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one do you use?
So I actually like the plates that you can put in any because
yes.
a lot of backpacks already naturally come with a laptop case.
Yes.
It's perfect for
that's a great idea.
Yeah, so if you
This
I mean
could
you're
go
not
with your
gonna,
business.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good
any
one.
of any of your backpacks, Innocent Armor will send you a ballistic panel that you can literally slide in your backpack.
That's very cool.
So, and it weighs next to nothing and
Yeah.
no one knows. So I'm a huge advocate on these backpacks for the kids.
Yes.
And parents, like, send your kids to school, you slide that plate right in there.
Yep.
And it
you're
protects
good
from
to go.
knives hits as well?
Yes,
Is it
it
strong
does.
enough? Okay,
I
great.
There
actually-
there are certain ones that
Okay.
protect, but I'm not sure that Innocent Armors is which do you
So
know?
Premier Body Armor is the one that I have used, and I actually have a YouTube video where I tried to stab
it?
I mean, and I went full force on
Okay.
this thing, and I tried to stab it as hard as I could, and it did nothing but rip the front. It didn't it didn't get through the Kevlar at all. So it technically said knife resistant, but I don't know. I mean, short of taking an axe to it, I don't. It was.
We need to have Kat back on, and we should do like a demo with both of the plates, because I know I've very familiar with Premier. They're just heavier than Innocent Armor.
Okay.
Oh, then I would. I'm always looking at, but they've come out with some new ones. Maybe you haven't seen. Premier Armor, Body Armor just came out with a very flexible one, and I would like to compare that to, because it's amazing. Body Armor used to be these thick, heavy things, and now it's literally fold. I mean, if you want a little, in my house actually, I had them put Kevlar in my walls around my bedroom.
Wow.
And it's a really easy thing. And so my bedroom is technically bulletproof.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know you could do that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's great.
All this cool stuff.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna have you back. So, all right.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Does that mean I passed the test?
Yeah. So
It's like part 2.
you did amazing today, by the way.
Thank you. Remember?
Yes. Oh.
Oh, am I supposed to clap too?
See, we did it. So, right.
No, it was part of our game.
Yeah,
So it's one of our versus games. We're like, if we start clapping, we wonder if our guests will clap too.
Yeah, I like to be like, I'm a lion, not a sheep. I don't know why we're clapping, but we're all clapping.
In the beginning, you didn't, though. You just looked at us, which I was like, oh, shit.
But she still did, though.
Yeah.
Bitch, I looked at her, I was like, you know, do the eye gestures.
It was his
Chase
look.
started
It was the eye
clapping.
gestures, right?
It was his look. He was like,
I did the shake. You know the head shake?
Yes, he did that.
The head shake. People
Yeah,
do it.
he
made her
Because I
feel
saw
bad.
she goes, okay.
I missed this.
Oh my God, you're amazing, Kat. Amazing.
it.
All right, guys, this is Kat and K9. You can find her at Kat and K9 on her social media stuff. And Kat, anything else you want to say before you go plug-wise? Go ahead. Anything you want to support?
Just for fun, I mean, obviously I have my social media, pretty much social media. I include almost all platforms, Kat and K9. So if you don't have Instagram, I have pretty much any platform you can search on there. And I also started a Patreon, which I've started doing women throughout history, whether fiction or nonfiction, but just badass women throughout history, and started doing kind of little like photo shoots of them. I did Vikings, and I'm doing all sorts of, it's kind of for fun.
It's like cosplay?
Yes, it's kind of,
great.
and I've decided to do everything like Rosie the Riveter, you know, go all the way back, kind of Marilyn, we'll even hit Marilyn Monroe, it can be anything, but just kind of badass women throughout history.
I love that. That's amazing.
So cool. So where can we find that on your Patreon?
Yep, it's Kat and K9, same thing.
I love it.
All right, what do you got going on?
So I think this is a badass bag, so you guys check them out. It's Uncharted. We will post a link for you guys to swipe up and check it out. So huge advocate of this company.
Yeah, I'm interested in one of those because I don't have.
I actually want one too.
Yeah, because I don't even have, you know what they always say, you should have like your survive for earthquakes. I don't have nothing.
This is my go bag,
this will be
and it literally
right?
stays in my vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, even imagine if you had a house fire, at least you have something in your car that you could just for the night. I mean, you never know where you're going to be. I just think it's really good to, especially if you had the body armor plate in there. Something so easy. Just keep it in your car.
Yeah.
Find a spot, have it always in your car. If you never use it, great.
Okay. All right. All right. And guys, you can find me at Fetch Sport or anything at Dating Intelligence on social media. And I want to give a shout out to Younger World Med Spa. Has been handling my facials and Botox and all that stuff like that. I'm going to keep it young. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep it young today. All right, guys. Jamie, the great show today.
Yeah,
we had a great guest.
I had a good time. I'm excited to have you back. Let's invite Christian on with the backpacks and then, Innocent Armor, and we do like a little powwow.
I think that'd be amazing. So
I'm definitely in.
All right. Thanks, guys, for another episode of Dating Intelligence. Thanks, Sticky Paws. All right. We're out.
What was that?
I want to do my jazz hands. No.